now, the final step before mascara for me is to take an eye pencil. You can take a really dark eyeshadow as well, it doesn't really matter, but I just find it's easier with an eye pencil to be like precise. You can also use like liquid eyeliner, but liquid eyeliner is sort of easier just to do your whole eye rather than what I'm about to do. So instead of doing like that full eyeliner look, just because I like to have the insides of my eyes bright. I don't know what it does, but it almost creates like a more cat-like eye somehow. As long as it's not like white and then black, it's like sort of a transition. I find that it just looks better on me personally, but I find eyeliner does look better on other people than it does on me. So you can do this either way, but what I like to do is I'll take my pencil, and I use like one that sort of has a greeny tinge, just so that my eyes look bluer. And you can also take a brownie tinge, and basically what I'll do is I will start adjacent to my eye. So basically, like, let's say here, my eye is sort of going down at this point, and I'm going just a bit above the line. So if I was going to draw a line where my eye was going to go, my eyelid was going to go, it would go down. What I'm going to do is go just a bit above that. So I'm like here instead. Okay, that's the line. The pencil is the line that I'm trying to extend. So basically my aim here is to extend my eye up. And all I'm doing is adding a tiny bit of eyeliner. Like to the point where you probably wouldn't even be able to see that if I didn't tell you about it. And so I don't know if you can see, but basically this eye all of a sudden looks higher than this one. And the reason is because I just added that darkness. It's almost like another eyelash is how I sort of think about it. It's like if I was gonna have an eyelash that was right out here like those dolls have, it would go like that. And basically that's just this tiny little like dab of color that I'm trying to put on there. It's darker and it's sort of just it's almost like a tiny wing, but it's not a wing. And then I'll go to the other side, and again, I don't want to go down. I want to go sort of like there. So it's not up, and it's not straight. It's like that. It's just angled slightly. And something I do always, I don't know, you probably do this too, but I'm just gonna say it, is I'll pinch the skin so that I can see. And even when you see like what's happening, it's this tiny little adjustment. I need to put a bit more on, but it just sort of like lifts somehow. So it's almost like a faux wing because there's no eyeliner anywhere else. Now, something I do sometimes as well, and I'm gonna do now so that it looks a little better, is I'll take this like rustic color that I was using before, and just to tie it all together to almost make it look like eyeliner, just because the bottom has some. I'm actually just gonna go over my eye super lightly and add it to my lash line. And it's easiest to use like a really fine brush, but you can use really anything as long as you do it super lightly. And it usually is one of my last steps, just because you don't want to, like if you put other eyeshadow on top of it, like for example, if I put the gold on top of it, it would have sort of like masked it at that point. It would have sort of made it go away anyway. So it's actually better to do this at the end anyway. And Kylie Jenner calls this the eyelash shadow. So she does this with a lot of her makeup, and it's really subtle. It's not eyeliner. It's obviously not eyeliner, but it's not supposed to do what eyeliner does. Basically, you can like blend it out and everything, but it gives your eyelashes like a bit of a shadow behind them, in order to sort of like make your eyes look bigger, make your eyelashes pop, I suppose. Anyway, I don't know what it does exactly, but I really like the way it looks when I do it. It almost makes my eyes look more open, just like eyeliner would, but in a more subtle way. And I just do it sort of again, all on my lash line, super fine line, as fine as I can get it, but also just like dust it. Doesn't need to be super precise like eyeliner does, because eyeliner is so hard to get right. And I usually find that it looks too dark on me anyway. My brush dropped. Okay, so I find that my eyes are kind of, that's what I sort of do mostly. The only thing that's different is when I go out or something like that, I'll make them a bit more dramatic. Like I'll add like that sparkle or something a bit more exciting to sort of draw it all in together. And as you can see, it's like, you don't see the differences in the colors. There's sort of, the way I like to do my makeup specifically is just to make my face look like natural, but you do tiny little brush strokes and stuff to make things more like enhanced, so to make your eyes look like they go this way. So I like to like look up on like YouTube and shit, like little tricks to make you, I don't know, look slightly different. And that's what makeup is really meant to do, so I like doing it that way. And then I'll put my mascara on. And how I do it is I don't know, you guys do your mascara obviously, so it's probably useless to say this, but I'll angle it up and I'll start at the bottom and obviously go up. But I like to go like almost like as if the mascara thing is like facing me, so that I can get sort of like each eyelash to be defined, so I don't miss anything. It's not like I'm just going like straight with my eye, I'm going like this way a bit, so that I get the individual ones. And like at the end there, and the closer you can get to your eye, the better, because that's where the lift is going to happen. So the closer you can get down to the bottom, the better. Obviously don't put mascara in your eyeball. Mascara actually takes me a bit of time because I like to make sure every eyelash, I also have blonde eyelashes, so if I don't have an eyelash that's like covered, it looks pretty fucking weird. So it's been 37 minutes. You probably are bored with this at this point. But this is sort of like, I'm going through step by step really, really slowly. And it has taken me 36 minutes, and this is really what I would do to go out, just like maybe a bit of different colors for my eyeshadow. So it doesn't have to be like, this will probably be like 20 minutes. And you don't need to do anything dramatic. You also probably don't have as much acne as I do, so it can be a bit quicker for like the foundation and stuff like that. But it doesn't need to be that long. Like, actually, it's better if you do your makeup quickly again, because it doesn't like set weird and sort of like start creasing and stuff, and then you're like, half your makeup is one way, half your makeup is the other way. And then at the end, because I put foundation and stuff on my lips, I just take that off. Make sure I don't have any like weird white lines or anything. And then I'll put some lip balm on. Okay, so something I'm noticing as my makeup sort of dries, this is something I notice often, is that once I'm done my eyes and my mascara and stuff, I'll go back and I'll do more bronzer or more blush just to make myself look a bit more tanned or whatever. Right now I look pretty white. So I just make sure that it's all done drying, because makeup changes colors as it dries. So sometimes your foundation will look different when you put it on after. It kind of sinks into your skin, and I find with this concealer, it kind of gets lighter or something. It just sort of like gets that like, it sort of like you can see around my chin. It's really white. So what I'll do is I'll kind of go into the bronzer. And first what I'll do is I'll re-enhance that contour blush line. You can go out or in. I don't really, when I'm kind of finishing off, I tend to go out, and when I'm starting, I go in. I don't know why. Just sort of what I'm used to doing. And I put it all over my face. So rather than just, I do it super lightly, and I just go all over, just so that I don't look white and weird. Sometimes I stipple it just really lightly, just to make sure that it dusts off, but it's not like I'm putting contour in like really strange places. And one last thing that I also sometimes do is I'll take either the contour, that really, really light brown, like dusted brown, and I'll just redo this increase. Basically, it's just like the last step that I do sometimes. Sometimes if it's fine, it's fine. But sometimes I find like by the end of it all, I'm like, oh, you know what, this could use a bit more color. So I add a little bit more color in a really light way. Just try to avoid your eyelashes so that you don't, make them look super weird. And I'll just go through my whole crease with it. And that is it. I don't really know if there's anything else. Oh, setting spray at the end. So once it's all dry, once your foundation and your concealer and stuff's all dry, I like to just... And you can do this with powder too. A lot of makeup artists like online really say that powder is like the game changer. Like putting powder on your face keeps your face from getting like weird and cakey. I haven't really been using it. I don't even own it right now because I just find that it's not good for your skin. It clogs your pores. It's full of like heavy things that get into your pores so that you don't sweat. But lately I've really been liking sort of this glowier look. So I kind of use this blush instead of a highlighter. I've used a blush and a bronzer that have a tiny bit of shimmer. So rather than having this like really stark highlight, my skin sort of just like glows all the way around, and this is really like hydrating, so it just sort of glows. And when you add a setting spray, it does the same thing, but it like locks it all in. So I just find that that's sort of nicer than the highlight that people use now, because I find that it looks a bit more like natural, and it sort of depends where your face is going, where the light's gonna catch, rather than being like, this is where the light's hitting on my cheekbone at this moment, when you're facing a completely different direction, and then it just looks weird because you have light on your face where light wouldn't be hitting. Anyway, that's the makeup tutorial. I hope you enjoyed. I miss you guys. Now I have nowhere to go and my face is all done.